Hey friends, I'm back at it again with some more tips to help you pass the CPA exam. So let's go right into it. Okay, thank you guys so much for your comments and your views on my last 3 CPA videos. This is for the Certified Public Accountant exam in the United States, and I recently passed, well, it's been a few months. I got my license last year, so it's been a few months. I'm currently in the CPE mode, which means after you get your license, each year you have to complete a certain amount of hours for continuing education, and you have to submit it to your state so that you can keep your license current. And every year where I have my license, I have to pay a renewal fee also. So that's currently what I'm doing this year. But I still have a lot of tips to give you guys on passing the CPA exam. And let me just tell you, I know how hard it is. I know how difficult it is. And honestly, it's only going to get more difficult the longer you wait, because they're going to add more policies and more rules, more tax updates that you're going to have to learn. So if you're in this process now, just stick with it and get it done, guys. You can get through it. Trust me. I passed and I was so happy. It took me over 2 years. And in my last video, I told you that I made a 74 on every single exam the first time. So I had to retake all of them over and get that passing grade. So I know it's hard. Just stick with it and let's get on with the tips. Okay, so when you're in the exam room, you're at your computer, the test has started, you've gotten through all the multiple choice questions, you're going to have task-based simulations. So my tip is to go ahead and open all the exhibits that go with these task-based simulations. Open them and at least read the title of the exhibit. And I say this because into answering the question, you might forget that you didn't look at one of the exhibits because you didn't know it was there. You didn't know that they gave you a balance sheet for year 4 and a separate balance sheet in a different exhibit for year 5. I remember this happened to me because I was almost done with the simulation, and I remember one of the questions said, was there an increase in assets from year 4 to year 5? And I'm like, OMG, there's a year 5 balance sheet? I didn't even realize it. So, I quickly had to open it and look, and I'm thinking to myself, was I supposed to use this exhibit with any of the other questions, because I didn't realize it was there. So that's one tip, is just to go ahead and open them and at least read the title. You may not use all of them, but in my experience, you did use most of the time. I had to look at every exhibit for one of the answers. I do remember a few times where there was an exhibit given that had like a few paragraphs of, say, a assistant in the accounting firm that had given her opinion or something like that in a few paragraphs, where I actually never had to use that exhibit. So they will try to throw in extra exhibits, but at least you know that they're there and you know what the titles are in case you have to go back and pull it up. And there is a way where you can leave them all open and kind of leave a little space so you can see each one. That way when you need it, you can go ahead and click on it. And I would suggest practicing that during your review course. Just practice opening the simulation and opening all the exhibits, closing them, reopening them. Okay, so that's one tip. Another tip is to look at the AICPA website before you go into your exam, maybe a few weeks before, because they actually provide a sample test. It's like they're going to show you questions that were on actual tests in the past. And of course, these questions are not going to be on your test. These were ones that were used in the past, but they show them to us because they want us to see what a question could look like. And to me, these were helpful because when you're doing your review material, say Becker, the questions are written differently. So when you look at the AICPA test questions, the examples they give you, you're getting a better idea on how an actual question is going to look in the test. And I even answered some of the multiple choice questions just to see if I understood what they were talking about, one, and two, just for some extra, review material. So, and those are posted on the AICPA website every year. So you can go there and look at those. Another thing to do is when you're in your exam, the multiple choice questions are first. So you'll have 2 testlets of multiple choice questions, and then you're going to have the task-based simulation testlets. So in some of the task-based simulations, you're going to be given an option to use a spreadsheet. It used to be Excel, now it's like a Java sheet, but why? I don't even think you should waste your time opening and trying to use that, guys, because most of the features are locked down that you can't even use in the spreadsheet. So why spend your time trying to make it look all neat and pretty, trying to answer a question when you can just use your calculator and the paper that they give you? You don't want to waste any time on these task-based simulations. You need at least 15 minutes for each one. I needed longer on most of mine. So, a lot of times you're getting to the end and you're just guessing at the remaining questions. And always, always, always give it an answer. If you've got 1 minute left and you have 10 questions that you haven't answered, go ahead and select answers for those, and maybe you'll get lucky and get a few of them right. You're never going to know that because they don't let you see your answers, but at least you've given them an answer to score. So do not leave anything blank during the entire test. Just do not do it. Don't even skip over a multiple choice question and say, oh, I'll go back to it. You're not going to have time. Pick the best answer that you see on there and just move forward, okay? So, like I was saying, when it comes to that spreadsheet, do not bother. Do not even bother to open it and try to complete a calculation using it. Okay, that is my suggestion. Just use your calculator and your white sheet of paper that they give you. Another thing to do is going back to the don't skip a multiple choice question. Guys, sometimes I went into my test and the very first question, the very first multiple choice question I got stuck on. And it's frustrating. It's so frustrating when you get in there and your very first question is ridiculously hard. It's a huge calculation. They want you to put together the answer to, a huge question. And you're spending a lot of time trying to get that first question right because you want your test to go smoothly. And if you start out, with knowing that you got that first question right, then it sets in your mind that the rest of the test is going to go well. I'm going to tell you, do not spend 15 minutes on one multiple choice question. I've been there, I've done that, and I regretted it, so badly because I should have just picked an answer and moved on. Because when I got to the task-based simulations, like I said, you want at least 15 minutes for each one. I got there and I had 15 minutes to do 2. So I set myself up for failure because I spent way too long on a stupid multiple choice question when I could have gotten to the simulations faster and could have spent more time on them. The simulations, they they have a good bit of questions in each one. So that means you have the ability to get more questions correct in a simulation than you do in one multiple choice question. So save that time and have it for the task-based simulation to where you can, spend the time getting those right, because there's more opportunities to get the correct answer, if that makes sense. So don't be like me and waste 15 minutes on a multiple choice question. So pick an answer and move on. And don't try to put a note at the top for you to go back to it later. You're not going to have time to go back. Once you've hit submit on a testlet, you can't go back to that testlet, just so you know that. Okay. I know the test is changing in 2024, so if you've already started studying for FAR or audit, you may know that they used to ask you a research question, and they used to make you go into the authoritative literature, almost like a dictionary or an encyclopedia, and you would have to search for the code to put into the answer, and you would actually have to type that in. Well, guess what? They took that out, so you don't even have to know how to search for these items in the literature or in the, call it, dictionary. They used to give us 2 and sometimes 3 of those questions in either FAR or audit, and I remember sometimes I would spend way too long on those too, because you have to put in a search word, you have to tell it what to search in, and then you'd have to drill down until you got to the best answer. So those are actually gone. So if you've been studying those, you can stop. You don't have to do that anymore. So that's a good thing, but that also means they're going to replace that with a multiple choice question that could have been, that could be harder, because a lot of people were good at researching and finding those answers, but now that's not even going to be there. So you don't have to worry about that. They also took the writing section out. It was in the BEC testlet. You had to write 3 essays, and for some people, that was a good thing, because it was basically testing to make sure you knew how to write a paragraph. You knew how to respond to a question from a client. And to me, I enjoyed doing those, and I'm sorry that you guys don't get to do it. It just means that they've replaced that with yet more task-based simulations. So you don't have to worry about learning how, to put together and form a response to the question any longer. But you do have to know how to do task-based simulations, and those are going to increase because the written section is gone now. Okay. The other thing I read on the AICPA website was that the way they do the multiple choice test, so it used to be called something like multi-stage adaptive testing. It was a feature they did where if you did good on the multiple choice testlet, the first one, then the second one would either be the same difficulty level or higher. Why they did that, I have no idea. It says that they started everyone out at medium difficulty, and then if you did good at that, then they would give you a harder one the next time. That's not fair. Why can't it be the same for everyone? So guess what? They've now said that they've stopped that, and they've made it a more linear approach. So whatever that means, they just need to be more clear with us and let us know how they do these tests and how they actually score these tests. So hopefully the AICPA will do a better job at this moving forward, but at least they've taken that piece out to where if you did well, then you got a harder testlet on the next multiple choice testlet. That's not fair. In my opinion, it should be the same for everyone, because why do you want to make it harder? Why can't they all be the same difficulty level for every test taker? So apparently they have moved into that approach, I guess, if that's what linear approach means. Then if they did that, then I'm happy for you guys that it's more, you know, you're more on the same level as everyone else, which is the way it should have been the whole time. So when I read that, I was kind of annoyed. You know, why would they even do that? This should be a test that's the same for everyone. It's hard enough as it is. Why are you going to make it harder because the person did good on the first testlet? Don't you want us to do good, AICPA? Come on now. I'm just being real. I'm being real because, you know, it took me over 2 years to review and pass this test, and it took over $6,300. So yeah, I'm gonna be real with you guys. You know, they should do a better job at being transparent to us. So let me make sure I've got everything that I wrote down. We did the research question. We talked about the spreadsheet and how, in my opinion, you should not waste your time with it. And make sure you look at the sample test on the AICPA website, just because it gives you an idea of what an actual question looked like on the test. Okay. And then we talked about opening the exhibits in the task-based simulations and at least reading the titles of them so that you know what's there, and you'll know that there, you know, all of those items are there for you to look at for answers. So you guys, please leave me more comments. I've had a few questions that I have answered, and maybe I'll answer them on video next time. One of them was how to remember how to do journal entries. So you can look back in my comments and my replies on the last videos for that answer. And I'm going to just keep, anytime I have a list, I'm going to sit down and do the video. Now I have my own little room here where I can do these at. My son is going away to college, so I took over his room and I'm redecorating it and making it comfortable. I've got a new bedspread ordered and sheets, and we did some painting, so I'm kind of excited. I have a place where I can come now, do some more videos for you guys, and just have a place to relax. So if you're in the middle of studying for the CPA, I want you to keep your head up. I want you to stretch, like stand up every hour and stretch. Take a break, guys. Allow yourself some time to recover, and I know you can get through this. I'm over 40 years old. I waited to take the CPA exam, and I'm glad I did it, because it was always in the back of my head. Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I do it? And you know what? I said to myself, I can still do it. I can still do it. And yes, it was painful, but I got through it. I'm a vice president of finance now with my company, and it's taken me places I've never dreamed of, because let's face it, you don't get paid a lot of money when you're working at a public accounting firm. You know, when you're first starting out, or even when you've made it to a senior or a supervisor position, they don't pay well. You know, so when you can get your CPA license and you can move up and you can leverage yourself, you can apply for more jobs at private companies, then that's my goal for you. I want you to be happy, to move up, to make more money, to be able to support your family better, to save money. And that's what this channel is all about. So if you guys enjoyed this, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Again, my name is Angie, and I will see you next time. Bye.